Detectives Tim and Anderson had just been handed the most cryptic mission of their careers. No one at the agency could even tell them where they were heading. All they got was a coded message and a map with only continent names labeled. "Look closely at the map," their handlers said. "Add a direction to one of these continents, and you will get the name of the country where you're going. Can you help them to figure it out?" It didn't take them long to crack it. The direction was south, and the continent was Africa, because adding south to Africa gave them South Africa. Bingo! Now they are definitely sure where they're supposed to go. Their next set of instructions would come from an informant during the flight, so they boarded and spotted 3 men sitting next to them. Can you tell which one is their guy? Look, this man is holding a suitcase marked with a small emblem from the detective agency. Which, by the way, is the same emblem Tim and Anderson have on their suitcases. This is definitely the informant. They walk over, and he discreetly handed them a slip of paper before slipping back into their seats. The note was supposed to contain the name of their main suspect, but they quickly realized that it was also encoded. Thankfully, Tim remembered an old trick from their agency. Each vowel matched up with a number. That means the letter A corresponds to the number 1. The letter E is 2, I is 3, O is 4, and U is 5. Now it is time to crack the criminal's name. The name is spelled out as Nico Nacho. Of all names, Nico Nacho, Anderson chuckled, but they knew better than to underestimate him. Nico was notorious in the underworld for his crafty disguises and dangerous alliances. When they touched down in South Africa, they found out that Nico ran a restaurant as his cover. A taxi driver agreed to take them there, but only if they guessed which of the taxis belonged to him. Then, he handed him this encoded message. Can you tell which taxi the detectives should choose among these 3? These strange symbols are mirrored numbers. If we cut the upside-down triangle, we get the number 7. Cut the 8, and we get the number 3. Do the same with this weird heart-shaped symbol, and it becomes number 2. So, the correct taxi is the one that has the number 7327 on the license plate. Tim and Anderson finally arrive at their destination, but there are 3 restaurants on this street, and each one has really bizarre names. The restaurant signs read Okan, Atsap, and Silrag. Can you guess which one belongs to Nico's criminal network? A quick flip of the words told them everything they needed to know. Reading it backwards, Silrag turns into garlic. Atsap is pasta. And Okan spells nacho. Wow, just like Nico's last name. Yep, this is definitely the place. They walked into the shady restaurant, but to be honest, it looked pretty ordinary. So they asked the manager to check the security camera footage from the night before, after the place closed. The manager looked nervous, but she agreed. Then she showed them the footage from 2 different cameras that captured the empty restaurant from different angles. Then, suddenly, Tim shouted, "Wait! Pause here! Play it again!" Can you figure out why he decided to rewind the footage? Both cameras had the same timestamp, but one showed the piñata hanging from the ceiling moving, while in the other one, the piñata didn't move at all. A possible explanation is that the criminals erased some footage, so the video looks like it's paused. And look over there. In this footage, they can see a sketchy door. Something is definitely up with that. Maybe they wanted to hide who went in there. Tim and Anderson get inside that door and spot a staircase leading to the basement. Heading down, the stairs seemed to stretch endlessly. When they reached the bottom, they were confronted by a chilling sight. 3 cages, each containing a captive surrounded by dangerous animals. So the two of them got a message on their phones that said, "You can save only one. There is no time to save them all." In the first cage, a person stood stock still as crocodiles swam beneath, their beady eyes watching, waiting. In the second, tigers paced and growled, tense and ready to pounce. In the third, a network of snakes slithered around the feet of the captive, coiling and hissing. Tim and Anderson had to think fast. Who will they save first? Let's see. Crocodiles are not as aggressive unless provoked. The snakes are likely venomous, but as long as the person stayed calm, they'd have a little time. The tigers, though, they were actively circling, clearly hostile, and seconds away from attacking. They had to make a call, and fast. In a split second, they went for the person surrounded by tigers, pulling them free just as one of the tigers roared. But they got the person out in time. Phew! Sorry, but the other victims will have to wait a bit longer to be rescued, because when they looked back, the detectives saw a hooded suspect sneaking out of the basement. Tim and Anderson took off running after him. They chased him hard until the suspect reached a dead end. The detectives shouted, "Stop right there!" But then they realized they were actually the ones who were in danger. But how? Take a look at the floor. There are only 2 detectives, but there are 4 shadows on the ground. That means there are 2 people right behind them. Tim and Anderson froze in fear, but they didn't have time to think. Suddenly, a group of tough guys surrounded them. "You think you can just come in here and mess with Nico's operation?" one of them asked. And then he said that Nico Nacho would see them, but only if they could solve a riddle to prove their worth. He handed them a note that said, "I belong to the month of December, and not to any other month. I am not a holiday. What am I?" What the criminals didn't know was that Tim was a pro at riddles. He immediately realized the answer was the letter D, since no other month has that letter. They finally made it to Nico Nacho's mansion, but their problems were far from over. There was a really angry dog at the door growling at them. The detectives knew they were in deep trouble. Anderson thought out loud. "What should we do? Run for it, raise our hands, or grab a bottle of water?" Now tell us in the comments, what would you do? Got any advice for them? Running or raising their hands could freak the dog out even more, making things way more dangerous. The smart move is to grab the water bottle and throw it far away so the dog goes after it, giving them a chance to sneak into the house. And that is exactly what they do. As soon as they step into the main room, Tim and Anderson take in the decor, glance at each other, and realize something feels really off. What did they notice? See that picture on the wall? That is not Nico Nacho. That guy is the informant. Yep, the one who was on the plane with them. But wait, that makes zero sense. Can someone please tell them what is going on? Suddenly, a bunch of their fellow detectives burst into the room, clapping and congratulating them. This time, they weren't after Nico Nacho. Turns out, Tim and Anderson's super-secret mission was actually a huge prank by the detective agency, because they were celebrating their 100th case. They wanted to mark the occasion with some special puzzles, riddles, and of course, a bunch of very professional actors. Look at these people very attentively. Which of them is a werewolf? The girl is the werewolf. Have you noticed that chain? She's tied to the bed so that when she transforms, she won't be able to run away and get into trouble. How about these ladies? Which of them is going to get wet? The second lady's dress is way bigger than her umbrella. Her dress will get wet very soon. Now, look at these people. Are they fighting? Is she robbing the woman? Or is it something else entirely? Can you figure out why he pushed her? The man has actually just saved the girl's life by pushing her. A car is approaching them. The traffic light has already changed and it is now green for the traffic, not pedestrians. Look at these nurses very, very attentively. One of them isn't what she seems to be. Can you figure out which nurse is fake? The first lady does look professional, but we all know that looks can be deceptive. Look at her shoes. They're muddy. That likely means she managed to steal the scrubs but couldn't find clean shoes. There's something creepy about all of these three people. Especially the bartender. He gives me the chills. But only one of them is a real zombie. Who is it? Even though the bartender looks like a zombie, it's actually just green paint. See those white patches of skin next to the edges of his clothing? The lady in yellow is a human. There's nothing strange about her. But the lady in purple is a different story. She is a zombie. Look at those weird red stains on her dress. They're not from the hot dog since she hasn't started eating it yet. Now let's check how quick-witted you are. 5 people were asked to step over a pencil that was lying on the floor, but none of them managed to do it. Can you figure out the reason? It's simple. The pencil was placed near the wall. Another one for you. How many bricks does it take to complete a building? Just one, the last brick. Some math can't hurt. A young lady has the same number of brothers and sisters, but each of her brothers has 2 times fewer brothers than sisters. How many sisters and brothers are there in the family? There are 4 girls and 3 guys in the family. Comment whether you got it right. Now it's time for some serious detective work. Michael invited his friends to a party. At one point, the young people decided to play hide and seek. The only place Michael asked his friends to stay away from was his uncle's study. The room was likely equipped with all kinds of traps. When the game started, Daniel couldn't find a safe hiding place, and he sneaked into the first room he came across. There was only one window and one more door in the room. But Daniel heard a horrible roar coming from behind this door, so he didn't risk opening it. The door he'd come through had a password lock with letters on it. The guy looked around and noticed a slip of paper in the corner. He picked it up and saw 4 numbers on it. 1659. Daniel thought for a while and got out of the room. How did he do it? The code was the first letters of the 4 numbers, OSFN. The CEO of a large company called the police. He was sure one of his employees, Victoria, stole a memory card with secret information. She was going to sell it to the competitors. The police arrived at Victoria's house, but the woman didn't let them in without a warrant. By the time the officers returned, Victoria had already been sitting in her car, ready to drive off. The police officers arrested the woman. They searched her car and home, but found nothing. And then, one of the detectives realized where Victoria kept the memory card. Do you know it too? When the police first came to her, the woman had her hair down. But later, Victoria changed her hairstyle. The memory card is hidden in her bun. Ben was the chief engineer in a secret laboratory that produced robots. One day, he had to test a new experimental robot model. Ben shut the door and switched the robot on. But something went wrong and the machine got out of control and began to attack the engineer. Ben rushed toward the door, but it wouldn't open. Looking around in a panic, the man spotted several things that could help him to fend the robot off. A pointer, a short rubber stick, a deodorant spray, and a lighter. Which object should Ben use to protect himself? The rubber stick would do nothing to stop the robot. If Ben had enough time, he could probably make a flamethrower from the lighter and the spray, but even so, it wouldn't harm the heavy metal robot. But with the help of the pointer, the engineer can reach the robot's power button and switch the crazy thing off. A crying woman called the police and told them that someone had stolen her stuff. When the police arrived, they heard the full story. The woman had been standing on the side of the road with her wallet, cell phone, and several shopping bags in her hands, waiting for her taxi. Suddenly, a man snatched her wallet and smartphone. Unfortunately, the woman had only seen him from behind. Luckily, the police managed to find a witness who had been standing nearby when the theft had happened. The man said that the thief was a tall, red-haired man wearing glasses. After he grabbed the woman's things, he entered the nearest building through the fire escape door. Surprisingly, the police immediately arrested the witness and found the woman's wallet and cell phone in his pockets. How did the police officers realize that he was the criminal? Fire escape doors only open from the inside, so the man lied from the very beginning to trick the police. One day, a famous soccer coach went missing right from the changing room. The detective has 3 suspects, and all of them are from the coach's team. Brandon says that after the training, he stayed on the pitch to practice a bit more and hasn't been to the changing room yet. Andrew swears that straight after the training, he went outside to meet with his girlfriend. And James claims that when he was leaving the changing room, the trainer was still there. Who is the criminal? The kidnapper is Andrew. He said that he hadn't been to the changing room yet, but he was wearing not his uniform, but street clothes. Nathan sneaked out of the house late in the evening to meet his girlfriend. The teenager thought he was extremely careful and quiet. But his whole family knew about his plan and knew he would return at midnight. They decided to make a bet. The one who would be the first to see Nathan climbing the fence would be the winner. No chores for them for 1 week. Not to fall asleep, Nathan's dad switched on the TV. The teen's grandfather settled in the living room to read a book. The grandmother went to the kitchen to make pizza, and Nathan's mom went to her room, sat down on the floor, and started to meditate. Who's going to be the first to spot Nathan when the time comes? Nathan's mom. Her eyes will be used to the darkness, and she will see better than the others. 3 criminals robbed the largest bank in the city. The police managed to catch 2 of them, but the third one slipped away. No one knows who this person is or what they look like, and the other 2 criminals refused to say anything. The police detained 3 suspects found not far from the crime scene. A detective asked each of them just one question. "Do you know who robbed the bank?" The first guy said, "I don't know, but it looks like it was James Black." The second man answered, "What I do know is that it wasn't me. I've just returned from another city." And the third young man said, "I don't know the criminals." Who is guilty? It's the third man. He couldn't know that the robber hadn't been alone. Sarah and John invited 3 women to a dinner party at their home. Emily brought a red lipstick with her. Claire was wearing a bracelet that John had once mentioned he liked, and Julia had a handkerchief peeking out of her bag. Now, Sarah suspects that one of them is John's lover, but who? Let's see. Emily had a red lipstick, but it wasn't on her lips, so the kiss mark on John's neck isn't from her. John did compliment Claire's bracelet once, but she wears it every day. Now, check out that handkerchief sticking out of Julia's bag. It has a J on it. John has a matching handkerchief with the same letter, which he always uses for special occasions like tonight. That means Julia is the secret lover. Lily was at a job interview for a journalist position. After some tough questions, the interviewer said she would get back to her later with the results. But Lily noticed that the interviewer had written E** in her notes. So, did she get the job or not? The letter E is written in red, and the word start is repeated twice. Put together, it reads, "Ready to start." Congrats on the new job, Lily! You made it! Susan broke up with Liam, and before moving out, she couldn't find her diary. So she told Liam, "If you find it, promise me you'll throw it away without reading it." A year later, Liam found the diary. Despite the promise, he decided to open it anyway and saw the message. He then facepalmed. Can you guess why? Well, Liam finally understood why Susan left him. Check out the message backward. It reads, "I cannot trust you." Ouch! Andrew got a job taking care of 3 quirky dogs for a wealthy and eccentric old man. The instructions were simple. Buddy loved beef, Luna preferred chicken, and Rocky enjoyed fish. But when it was time to feed the animals, Andrew only saw the numbers 1, 2, and 3 at the bottom of the bowls, and couldn't remember which bowl corresponded to which dog. Can you help him out? Look at the wall. The dogs are real champs, and the bowls match their medals. Buddy, who won first place, gets bowl number 1. Rocky, who came in second, gets bowl number 2. And Luna, who finished third, gets bowl number 3. Arthur was having dinner at Jack's, his childhood friend. After a while, Jack pulled out an old photo album. Arthur was having a great time flipping through it until he suddenly froze in shock. There was a photo from a senior school trip in 1994, and he was in it. But he didn't remember going. What was going on? Sadly, Arthur couldn't make it to that trip. His friends didn't want him to feel left out, so they attached a photo of Arthur's face to a stick and brought it with them. Christina was working when her mom called her, urgently telling her to hurry and open their safe at home. She revealed that the first numbers were 06 and 16, but just as she was about to say the last number, the call dropped. Christina knew the code was 3 two-digit numbers in a sequence. Can you help her figure out the entire code? If you turn the code numbers upside down, you get 90 and 91. That means the next number in the sequence is 92. Phew! So, Jay Rush, a famous rapper, is hanging out in his super soundproof home studio, where absolutely no outside noise gets through. But suddenly, he hears a soft woman's voice singing. How is that possible? Take a look over there, in the corner. There's a baby monitor. The voice he heard was his wife singing a lullaby to their daughter upstairs. Leo is studying in Spain and has planned a romantic weekend in Paris with his girlfriend. Their flight is set for 7 in the morning. They both arrive at the airport at the same time, look at each other, and say, "I'm so sorry." So what are they apologizing for? Check the clock on the wall. It's 7 in the evening. That means they both overslept and missed their morning flight. Luckily, the airline put them on the next one. Alan is taking his driving test, and he's sitting there all nervous next to the instructor. Suddenly, a car zooms through a red light right in front of them. The instructor says, "Never do what that crazy driver just did." But there's something that shocks Alan even more. Can you guess what it is? The terrible driver is actually Alan's twin brother. Different haircuts, but the same face. What are the odds? Susan is writing a birthday card for her best friend and wants to cut it into a heart shape. But, oh no, she can't find her scissors. So, Susan goes to a store where she sees 4 options. Scissors for $2, $5, $15, and $30. Which pair does she buy? She picks the $15 pair. Let's remember that Susan wrote the card with her left hand, and the $15 scissors are the only ones designed for left-handed people. Thomas was in the library when he found a dusty old book titled Ancient Riddles. As he flipped through the pages, a card fell out with the word molar written on it. He quickly figured out that this card didn't belong in the book. How did he know? Well, molar is a type of tooth, and the word is written in blue. So the answer here is Bluetooth. Definitely a bit too modern for an ancient riddle, don't you think? At a birthday celebration at a luxury spa, Lily was proudly wearing her favorite designer bracelet. After a relaxing session in the sauna, everyone went back to the lounge, only to find that Lily's bracelet was missing. Can you guess what happened to it? The masseuse took it. Check out the lotion bottle. The bracelet is wrapped around the lid. Dennis plays soccer with his friends every week after work. One evening, he noticed that his sports socks were sewn together. In a hurry, he just wore his work socks to the game and forgot about it. The next morning, his wife looked pale and said, "We need to talk." Why was she so upset? Turns out, Dennis's wife sewed his sports socks together to see if he was cheating. She thought that if the socks were still sewn together the next day, it meant he'd skip soccer for a secret date. Clara woke up suddenly at 4 in the morning to the sound of her phone hitting the floor. She thought it must have been the cat, but then she noticed that Mr. Whiskers was across the room staring at her. So how did the phone end up on the floor? Turns out it was a little earthquake. Clara figured it out when she picked up her phone and saw an earthquake alert on the screen. Tom is a new lifeguard at Splash Water Park Resort. He's watching over the wave pool when he suddenly spots an emergency. Can you figure out what's caught his attention? This kid doesn't have a floaty, but that's not an issue since she's in the shallow end. Look further back. See that hand sticking out between the floaties? Someone has slipped out of their floaty and is signaling for help. Dave, Emily, and Tom decided to play hide-and-seek at Emily's house. Emily quickly found Tom hiding behind the sofa, but no matter how hard they looked, Dave was nowhere to be found. Can you help Emily and Tom track down their missing friend? Dave hid in the bathtub and closed the shower curtain. Since the curtain matched the bathroom walls, it was super easy to miss. Kyle is on a nearly empty flight to New York, but the kid sitting next to him just won't stop crying. Frustrated, he asks the flight attendant if he can switch seats. She checks his passport, rolls her eyes, and says, "That's impossible." Why is she so annoyed? Turns out, the crying kid is actually Kyle's own daughter. Mary works as a manager at the local circus. Her task is to prepare their new location for future performances. She arrives at the spot, takes a look at the stage, and freaks out. Why? Take a closer look at the sign. It says citrus, when it should say circus. Oh my. Jerry and Michael went out for a boat ride and got into a bit of trouble. Both of their boats are slowly sinking. Which boat do you think will sink first? The first boat has 2 holes in it, but somehow it has way less water in it. The second boat only has 1 hole, but look at the amount of water that got inside. It's definitely the second boat that's gonna sink first. Eric and his friend Brenda are meeting for coffee. Eric is excited to meet her because he knows Brenda has a secret to tell him. Brenda has a new crush, but she won't reveal his name. Eric asked her to write a clue for him on a piece of paper, and she wrote the following code: 12, 8, 11. Can you figure out her crush's name? The numbers imply 3 months: December, August, and November. If we take the first letters of each month, we'll get the name Dan. Mandy, an off-duty private investigator, went to have lunch at her favorite cafe. There she saw 3 people that called her attention. She quickly noticed that one of them had probably been poisoned. Take a look at the image. Can you tell who it was? The third guy didn't even touch his cappuccino. He must be just sleeping. The second lady is awake. She has some cappuccino mustache, nothing criminal. But take a look at the first guy. He's wearing glasses, so we can't say for sure whether he's awake or not. Meanwhile, his phone is ringing off the hook in his pocket, and he shows no reaction at all. That's suspicious. Shelly and Bernie are best friends. Bernie decides to save some money to get her a very good present this year. On the first day of the month, he puts $1 in his piggy bank. On the second, he puts in $2. On the third day, $3, and so on. Yay! Shelly's birthday has finally arrived, and Bernie has saved a total of $276 in his piggy bank. Can you guess the exact day of the month when Shelly was born? Shelly's birthday is on the 23rd day of the month. The easiest way to crack this riddle would be to simply add the numbers until we get 276. Mandy and Oliver have a thing for abandoned mansions that look haunted. So on a Friday night, they went to visit one. The house was falling apart and they could hear a cry coming from it. Mandy decided to enter through the main door, while Oliver went straight to the basement. Take a look at the image. Who's in greater danger? It's Oliver. If the house decided to crumble right that instant, it would definitely hurt Oliver. Yikes! On her 6th birthday, Camilla got 3 new dolls as gifts. But during her first night with the dolls, she ran into her parents' room crying and scared, saying one of the dolls was alive. Take a look at them. Can you guess which one? Let's see. The first doll has glowing eyes, but that's just a fun feature. You can see her clothes also have the same thing. The second doll looks normal. But the third doll has wrinkly skin and her face has changed since Camilla first saw her. That's the one. It was Jenny's first day at her new job. Since she had so much to do, she only went down to the cafeteria to eat lunch very late in the afternoon. By that time, there weren't many options left. Take a look at the picture. What's Jenny's safest choice? Let's see. That burger looks nice, but there's a lipstick stain on the bun, so that's a no. The apple pie is steaming, but it looks like it's been microwaved dozens of times, and it's about to go bad. Her safest choice is probably the frozen pizza. They defrost it on the spot. Hey, at least like this, she won't get food poisoning. It's lunchtime, and Becca goes to the fridge to grab the sandwich she brought from home. But when she opens the fridge, she notices that her food is missing. Someone probably ate her burrito. She decides to conduct a quick investigation to see who stole her lunch. Her boss ordered some expensive takeout from a new restaurant in town. Joe, her colleague, is highly allergic to gluten, so he ate something he brought from home as well. Helen, the supervisor, ate a delicious salad bowl from the cafeteria. Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who stole Becca's lunch? It was Joe. His hands are all swollen. He probably ate the burrito even though he's allergic to gluten. Yikes! Lucy was wandering through a forest when she stumbled upon a magical portal. Suddenly, she found herself in a mystical realm. There, she came across 3 talking animals: a fox, a raccoon, and a rabbit. One of them had swiped her magic amulet, which she needed to get back to her world. You know for a fact that the thief always lies, while the others tell the truth. The fox said that he didn't do it. The raccoon said it was the rabbit, but the rabbit denied taking the amulet. Can you help Lucy figure out which animal took her amulet? The rabbit is the culprit. The fox was telling the truth when he said he didn't do it. The raccoon pointed to the real thief. And the rabbit lied when he denied it. It's the rabbit. Sam was traveling through Italy and decided to treat himself to a fancy dinner at a swanky restaurant. While he was halfway through his meal, an old man came up to him. The guy said Sam looked just like his son and asked for a favor. He hadn't seen his son in years, so he asked Sam to say "Good night, Dad" when he left the restaurant. Sam thought it was a bit weird, but agreed. A little later, he got the shock of his life. Can you guess what happened? Sam got stuck with the old man's bill. The old man had told the waiter to hand the bill to his son. Oh no, can't believe he fell for that. Harry is an events producer. His stomach starts to growl after so much hard work, so he goes to look for some food. He walks into a store where 2 chefs are baking cakes, but here's the catch. Only one is safe to eat. Take a look at both of these delicious-looking cakes. Which one is safe? If you have a sharp eye, you'll know that the chef on the left is a fake, so you shouldn't eat his cake. The left chef has stains all over his shirt that look like blood. Plus, he doesn't have a badge on his shirt. He has a scratch over his eye, and he's hiding a syringe in his hand behind his back. There are just too many red flags here. Harry should go for the cake on the right. Mia is traveling, and she just arrived in a new city. Most of the hotels were booked since it was summertime, so she only found available rooms in an old house. There were 3 rooms for her to choose from. Take a look at the picture. Which one should she pick? Well, so you see the hidden scorpions behind the curtains in the first room? That's a big no-no. As for the third room, notice how the AC is set to cold, even though it's snowing outside. No to that. So, she should definitely pick the second room. It looks pretty clean. Once, an expedition set up camp in the middle of a desert. They decided to spend a few days in that place. But when they woke up, their truck had disappeared. Luckily, they had enough food to last a week, but no power and little water. 3 days later, one of the members of the expedition disappeared. The leader of the team questioned the remaining people. Logan said he'd been walking around the camp trying to find water. Joanna said she'd been playing games on her smartphone. Samantha claimed she'd been sleeping all day long to save energy. And Nick said he'd been preparing a report in his tent. Can you figure out who's lying? Joanna isn't telling the truth. Within 3 days, her phone would have already run out of battery. And the expedition doesn't have any power, remember?
Oh.
James was walking near the river in the evening when a group of people dressed in black and wearing masks grabbed him. The leader told James that he had 3 options. They could throw him into the sea with hungry piranhas. He could choose to get dumped into the ocean swarming with sharks, or he could opt for a river with hippos. What option should James pick to survive? Piranhas only live in fresh water. The guy should pick the sea with piranhas.
Yeah!
Ah, look at the groom. It seems he might not live long enough to become a husband.
Oh no!
One of these ladies has bitten him. Which one was it? It was Lady C. Look at her ears. She doesn't seem to be human.
Oh!
Look at these 2 pictures and try to figure out who is the robot here. Despite their unusual tattoos, the girls are humans. The robot is actually the cat in the picture on the right. Have you noticed that it's charging through a USB port on its side? Students knew they would have an exam on Monday, but their professor refused to tell them the exact time. Every time they asked, they got a weird reply. If 11 plus 2 equals 1, 10 plus 6 equals 4. If you manage to figure out the answer, you won't miss the exam. Do you know when the students should meet with their professor? At 4 p.m. 11 o'clock plus 2 hours is 1 p.m. Then 10 o'clock and 6 hours is 4 p.m. Look at these seemingly wealthy women. In reality, one of them is just pretending to be rich. Which one is it? It's the lady on the left. Her bag is fake. The label claims it's Goosey when it's supposed to be Gucci.
Oh my god.
Mark is locked in a room. There are 4 doors there. The guy has entered through one of them and he can't use it again. The first door leads to the room with high voltage wires hanging above the wet floor. Behind the second door, there's a water-filled room swarming with sharks. And the third door hides a room where acid flesh-melting rain is falling from the ceiling. Which door is the least dangerous and can give Mark a chance to escape? Mark should opt for the first door. It'll be safe if Mark doesn't let his body come into contact with the wires and the wet floor at the same time. Now, try to crack this tricky riddle. It's nothing but holes tied to other holes. At the same time, this thing is as strong as steel but not as stiff as a pole. So what's your idea? What is it? It's a chain. Two people were born at the exact same time but have different birth dates. How is it even possible? These people were born in different time zones in different places in the world. Now you have to think outside the box to crack this one. 1 is to 3 as 3 is to 5, and 5 is to 4. And 4 is the magic number. Can you figure out the pattern? The word 1 has 3 letters, the word 3 has 5, and the word 5 consists of 4 letters. But the word 4 has 4 letters in it. And whatever number you try, eventually you'll come back to 4. And the game will end there. Mira inherited an old house from her granddad. When she was exploring the cellar, she came across a massive wooden door. She opened it and saw a small room with 3 bags and a note. One of the bags has $1 million and the others are empty. You can only open one bag, so think carefully. Mira also noticed there was a message on each bag. The first bag claimed, "The cash is not here." The message on the second bag was, "The cash is not here." And the third bag said, "The cash is in the second bag." If only one message is true, which bag has the money? The money can't be in the second or third bags. If it was so, then 2 messages would be true. It means the money is in the first bag. William took part in a game show and ended up as one of the 2 contestants to make it to the finals. He came up to the table with 3 cups on it, but only one of these drinks was safe to try. The other 2 were poisoned, and even though a mistake wouldn't cost William his life, the consequences would be unpleasant. The drinks were tea with sugar, cappuccino, and hot chocolate. Which one should William choose? If it was indeed sugar in the tea, it would have already melted completely. But it didn't happen. Cappuccino looks suspiciously green. It's probably unsafe to drink. William opted for the hot chocolate and won the challenge. Look at these people walking along the sea attentively. One of them isn't human. Who is it? It's the young guy in the middle. He has no shadow. Creepy. When you look for something, you always find it in the last place where you search. Why is that? It's always the last place where you look, because after this, you stop your search. One of these ladies is a sporty man's wife. How long will it take you to guess which one it is? It's the girl who doesn't have a helmet, because her helmet is waiting for her on her husband's bike. All of these people seem to be terribly sick. Oh, I see. It's the maid. She's poisoned them. But what if I tell you that one of these people is actually faking poisoning, trying to save their life? Can you figure out who it is?
Oh my God!
It's the woman on the left wearing a red dress. She hasn't even touched her drink. Look at these ladies very attentively. One of them has stolen a watermelon. Can you understand which one it is? It's the woman on the right. The watermelon is actually peeking through her clothes. You're walking through a forest when you see a big lake. In the middle of the lake, you notice 3 cages floating on the surface. Inside, there are 3 people. Adam's cage is blocked by a huge chunk of ice. Luke's cage is locked with a massive padlock. And on top of Helen's cage, there's a container with boiling water. You can help only one of them. Who should you pick? You should choose to help Luke. The ice blocking Adam's cage will melt sooner or later, the boiling water will evaporate, and Helen will be able to escape, but Luke won't get out of the cage on his own.
Help!
2 identical vans were crossing the bridge when it collapsed. The cars fell into the water and started to sink. Luckily, the drivers were unharmed, but they had to figure out how to get to the surface really fast because the vans started to fill with water. One of the drivers began to push the closest door, and the other tried to open the side door. Who has a higher chance of survival?
Help!
The first driver won't be able to open the door because of the water pressure, but the side door in the second car is a sliding door. With some effort, the second driver will be able to open it and escape.
The spaceship Vanguard is traveling through space to a distant planet to start a new home for humans there. There's 1 captain on board and 7 crew members. Each of them has unique skills and jobs that can come in handy on a new planet. Suddenly, the ship experiences a decompression, and it becomes clear that the escape ship only has room for 6 people. The captain has to make a tough choice. He needs to decide who can be more useful in this new society. But there's also a moral side to this dilemma. The first crew member is James, a 42-year-old engineer. He is a natural leader and never loses his temper. He had to leave his wife and 2 sons back on Earth. James hopes they'll be able to join him on a new planet when the time is right. The next crew member is Stacy. She is 29 and biology is her main passion in life. She can start a garden from 1 seed, but doesn't accept criticism and always speaks up when she doesn't like something. This makes her relationships with other people complicated. She hasn't talked to her parents for years, and she often mentions plants are better than people. Geologist Tom is 36. His brain is like a map of natural resources. If you give him enough time, he can find oil and gas on any planet, even if everyone else says it's pointless to try. Tom can get stubborn at times, but that's because he always wants to reach his goals. He's a modest man who doesn't like to talk about himself. Maybe he has some secrets to hide. Allison is one of the oldest of the crew members. She is 48 and works as a doctor. Her survival skills and medical expertise are priceless. One of her best qualities is that she can handle any extreme situation perfectly fine. Yet she doesn't like the company of other people, and sometimes her comments reduce people to tears. Many years ago, she even lied to her sister to break her engagement. Next, we have a 25-year-old AI researcher, Matt. He believes the future belongs to technology, and since he's a master of tech, he'll rule the world. Matt loves intrigues and is very much into history. He's always the first to ignite conflicts and then watch them from a safe distance. It's impossible to make him say sorry or admit his fault. Helen is a 44-year-old psychologist. She always puts others first, and people often misuse it. She can heal souls. Isn't that important for stressful times of setting up a new society? Helen can't pass by a stray kitten or puppy in the street and always donates to charity. One weird part is that she has no real friends among humans left on Earth, and sometimes she cries for hours for no reason. The final member of the crew is Richard. He is 23 years old and works as a sociologist. He is a perfectionist and likes to overanalyze things. At the same time, he has some unique charisma and can solve a conflict with a smile. He makes the best jokes and keeps the crew entertained on this long interstellar journey. There's just 1 hour left before complete decompression. The captain needs to decide whom to leave on the doomed spaceship and whom to take to the escape vessel. He decides to ask the crew which of them deserves to be left behind. James immediately calls Stacy's name. He says, "There's nothing a smart human can't master. As an engineer, I'm sure I can find a way to grow some plants with the right technology. Stacy thinks plants are better than people, so let her stay alone with the plants." Stacy hesitates, but finally says, "Richard is a nice guy, can always make a good joke, but is it really the most necessary skill on an uninhabited planet in space?" She also mentions that they should definitely take Helen with them, because she's the best person Stacy has ever met. Tom sounds like he's happy someone has to be left behind. He says, "Allison doesn't deserve to move on to a new planet. She's the oldest, and a robot trained by Matt can easily replace her as a doctor." Allison refused to name anyone. She suddenly gets emotional and says she'd rather stay behind herself because others deserve to live more than she does. Time is running out, but the captain isn't rushing it and keeps interviewing the crew like there's no danger. It looks suspicious because he should feel bad about leaving anyone behind, but it seems he's enjoying the process and his control over it. When the captain asks Matt whom they need to leave behind, Matt suddenly asks the captain about his experience. "Where did you study? What does it take to become a spaceship captain?" Everyone on board knows that Matt loves a good intrigue, so they just ignore it. The captain suddenly gets nervous and says they need to wrap things up. Matt starts typing something on his onboard computer. The captain asks Helen for her opinion, and she calls Stacy's name. Stacy looks completely shocked and says, "I thought Helen and I were best friends." Richard is the last one to speak. He volunteers to stay on the spaceship. "My contribution to starting a new life in space would be the smallest out of all the crew members. Please tell my family I love them a lot." It's a heartbreaking moment for the crew. Everyone approaches Richard to say their goodbyes and thank him. The only one not joining them is Matt. The captain rushes them and says that the choice is obvious. They can go without a sociologist. Plus, he volunteered anyway. Suddenly, Matt jumps up from his computer and asks everyone to move away from the captain. "Imposter! He's an imposter!" Matt had enough time to check everything the captain told him, and it was all lies. Then he found the photo of the captain who was supposed to go on that mission, and it was not the one standing in front of them. Now it seems like the choice is obvious. The crew knows nothing about the fake captain and why he decided to lie to them and put their lives at risk. The captain goes into defensive mode and says they all have some secrets. He yells, James, who claims to be a loving husband, fell in love with Stacy and made a move on her. They had a short affair, but then she rejected him, and that's why he called her name when asked who to eliminate. The captain knows it because he overheard James threatening Stacy to do something terrible to her if she tells anyone. James then says, Helen manipulated Stacy using her psychological skills. The psychologist made Stacy believe they were best friends, and in reality, she was just making use of her. Tom was involved with some illegal activities in the past, and many people lost their homes because of him. That's why he doesn't like to talk about his past. Tom says, when Allison broke her sister's engagement, she was actually engaged to Matt. Matt got on the spaceship, hoping to take revenge on her somehow. It looks like Richard is the only one without any secrets. The crew has seconds to make the choice. The captain explains, I wanted to be on that mission in memory of my father, who was a spaceship captain. His mission failed on the way to another planet, and he didn't have a chance to evacuate. I might not have the right education to control a spaceship, but I know a lot about it from my father. He stole the real captain's ID to become part of the mission. The crew members vote and decide to leave the captain behind because he had lied to them and risked their lives for his ambitions. They can't trust him anymore, and trust is crucially important in such critical situations. Do you think they made the right decision? Let us know in the comments below. Hey, let's see how smart you are. Ezra is in love with his new classmate named Amber. He asks her out. She agrees to go on a date with him under one condition. He has to figure out which one of these 7 pencil cases is hers. Can you help him out? Take a look at Amber's outfit. It's pretty obvious that she likes cats. So we can make a short list of cases with cat decorations. Also, Amber likes purple. Therefore, only this pencil case is a perfect match. Ezra and Amber are walking down the street and enjoying each other's company. But there's a criminal among these people. Can you spot who? It's this black hoodie guy inside the police car. Ezra wants to take Amber to his favorite spot in the park, but unfortunately, the main road is closed for repairs. They have to walk through this maze. Can you help them find the correct route? Here's the only way leading to the final destination. Ezra takes a couple of pictures of Amber. Can you find 5 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here they are. Later that day, Ezra returns home. He wants to watch videos on his tablet. But unfortunately, his little brother pulled a prank and changed his password. Can you help Ezra figure out the new 4-digit code? Ezra's brother left this painting on the wall. It's a hint. All Ezra has to do is count the number of angles on each shape. So the answer is 3406. Ezra is watching his favorite travel blogger, Diego. This guy has a couple of million followers. This time, Diego goes into the uninhabited desert. He wants to find a very rare type of lizard. He reaches his final destination, posts several photos, and goes to sleep. After this post, thousands of people, including Ezra, unsubscribe from Diego. Why? Take a look at the third photo. See this sign? There's a hotel nearby. So Diego lied. He's not in the uninhabited desert. Amber wakes up in the middle of the night because she hears someone crying and moaning. She turns on the nightlight. There's a creepy ghost standing in front of her bed. But soon Amber realizes that the ghost isn't real. How did she know? Look at the floor. This ghost has a shadow, so it can't be real. The next morning, Amber enters the class and sees a bunch of beautiful flowers at her desk. She finds a love note on the bouquet. The flowers are from a secret admirer. Amber wants to know who sent them, so she questions 3 suspects. Ezra says that he's allergic to lilies. Harry says he's in love with another lady. It makes no sense for him to send any gifts to Amber. And Bob says he was the first to arrive at the class today. The flowers were already on Amber's desk. Who's the secret admirer? Take a look at Harry's desk. There's a notebook with the exact same purple paper as the love note. Gotcha. After classes, Ezra and Amber go to the local coffee shop. They take a seat and look around. They see a guy and a lady competing in arm wrestling. Who has more chances to win? Take a look at the lady's neck. It has a USB port. She's a robot. Therefore, she's gonna win. Ezra returns home and finds out that his father, Aaron, is missing. Aaron is a genius scientist and businessman. He's been receiving many threats recently. So Ezra calls the police right away. The officer questions Aaron's 3 major rivals. Alex says he left the business many years ago. He lives a humble life in the village. Chris says his business is much more successful than Aaron's. Why would he kidnap him? And Mike says he hasn't seen Aaron for many years, and they don't have any joint ventures. One of these guys is involved in Aaron's disappearance. Can you guess who? Take a look at the fridge. Aaron left a hint. If we use the letters encoded in this message, we'll get the name Mike. Meanwhile, Aaron wakes up in a creepy dungeon. His kidnappers ask him to create a potion that can shrink people tenfold. Aaron doesn't want to help them. Luckily, he has 2 pills in his pocket. The first one makes you invisible, and the second one makes you 10 times bigger. Aaron doesn't know which pill is which. Can you come up with an escape plan? Aaron is sitting here all alone. He has no one to test the pills on. So it's better to create the shrinking pills for the kidnappers. Then eat one of his own pills. If he grows 10 times, he can just use the new pills to return to his actual size. But if he turns invisible, he can escape with the shrinking pills. Well, Aaron escapes from the kidnappers and runs to the nearest subway. Can you spot a criminal in this location? Hello? Aaron gets on a busy train and goes to the police station. One of these passengers is a wizard. Can you spot who? It's this lady. Her feet don't touch the floor. She's flying. Aaron is walking towards the police station, but suddenly he falls into a pit. He ends up getting trapped in a dungeon. Soon, Aaron finds 3 doors. Behind the first door, there's a mirror labyrinth. It drives every man who dares to spend more than 5 minutes there crazy. There's a hungry wolf behind the second door. He loves feasting on humans. And behind the third door, there's a huge tank with sharks. If Aaron steps in, he'll fall into the tank. What should he do to survive? Aaron should open the third door, then open the second door and let the wolf out. And finally, quickly hide behind the first door and close his eyes. The wolf would start looking for Aaron behind the second door and fall into the tank with sharks. Then Aaron will be free to escape through the second door. Finally, Aaron is home. Ezra prepares him a welcome chocolate cake. He puts it on the table and leaves the kitchen for a moment. Then he returns and finds out that the cake is ruined. Ezra questions the two people who are in the house. His brother says that he's been playing video games in the living room. He didn't enter the kitchen. And Aaron says he's been taking a shower. Who ruined the cake? Neither brother nor father. The window in the kitchen is open, and there's a bird covered in chocolate on the tree. It was the bird. Aaron builds a robot that can do all the housework and calls it Meg. One day, Aaron comes home from work and finds out that his robot is missing. He's looking for it everywhere, and finally finds a dungeon. He goes there hoping to find his robot. But instead, he finds 5 robots looking exactly the same as his. He only has one try to pick the right robot. Can you help Aaron? Some robots have badges, some do not. But only this one has the name Meg. The next day, Aaron enters his office and finds one of his best employees, Stan, lying on the floor in one of the rooms. Someone had hit him on the head. The police question the workers and find 3 suspects. Maya, the office assistant, says she had a couple of days off and spent them sunbathing on the beach. Rob, the manager, tells the police that his friend had called him to ask for help. That's why he left the office before Stan came to work. Lily, Stan's girlfriend, says they had quarreled earlier that day, but after that, she didn't see him. The police officers understand right away who's lying. What about you? Maya said she spent several days on the beach, but her skin is super pale. Uh-oh, busted. It was Emmanuel's dream to become the greatest detective in the world. But to do that, he needed to get accepted to the International Detective Academy. On their entrance exam, they wanted to test the visual perception skills of the potential students. So they gave students 3 images and asked them to find out what was wrong with them. The one who spotted the abnormality the fastest would get in. Here's the first image. Can you help Emmanuel out? The clock on the wall says it's 12 p.m., but the window view suggests it's sunset time. That doesn't add up, even if it's noon or midnight. Here's the second image. What's wrong here? The lady sitting at this table appears to be reading a book, but she's holding it upside down. And the last image. Spot the weird thing real quick. The picture on the wall is supposed to be a historical portrait, but the queen on it is holding a cell phone in her right hand. The county detective agency got a call from the sheriff's office. A criminal who had been in prison for a few months had escaped the jail. They were able to chase her until she blended in with the crowd at the venue where the annual Iron Lady competition was taking place. The president of the agency wanted to test the new recruit, Michelle, so he sent her to find the criminal without giving any information about what she looked like. Once Michelle arrived at the venue, 2 suspicious-looking ladies competing on the weightlifting stage caught her eye. Can you help Michelle identify which one is the criminal? must be the lady on the right with the long hair and dark brown roots. Since she was in prison for a few months, she wouldn't be able to dye her hair there. Arya, a brave knight, was seeking the enchanted sword to save her kingdom from a cyclops. However, it was guarded by an ancient dragon who loved to play games. When Arya finally made it to the top of the Misty Mountains where the sword was, the dragon greeted her and said, "Only the one who answers my riddle is worthy of wielding the sword. Tell me, what is it that given one, you either have two or none?" The answer is a choice. Van Pulsing was a famous monster hunter. One day, he got a call from a couple who were the owners of an old mansion. They claimed that there were monsters occupying their home, hiding in plain sight and making them live in fear. They wanted Van Pulsing to free their house from them. He said they should continue their usual day, and he would observe where the monsters could be. Take a look at the bedroom. Can you spot the monster? Here, this is not a human hand. Where could the monster be hiding in this portrait room? Do you see Van Pulsing's shadow on the ground? It looks totally different from him. That must be some other shadow monster. Where's the monster in this reading room? Look at these candles here. The flames are eye-shaped. That must be a fire monster. The main ice sculpture at the Winter Festival was mysteriously melted hours before the grand opening. Angelica, the event planner, got suspicious of three participants: Derek, who was setting up food stalls, Olivia, in charge of decorations, and Sam, who was nowhere to be found earlier. Can you help her figure out who sabotaged the sculpture? See the small temperature arranging box directly below the sculpture area? It is password protected. And look at Olivia's palm. There are numbers written on it, which appear to be some sort of a password. It must be her who tampered with the system to melt the sculpture. Jared and Rita were going camping in the woods and had to choose a site to set up their tent. There were three differing camping areas available: Emerald Forest Camping, Firefly Mountain Campgrounds, and Starlight Lake Campsite. Can you help them decide which spot is the best? Look at this tree in Emerald Forest Camping. There's a bear hiding there. This option is definitely a dangerous one. Firefly Mountain Campgrounds is located next to a rocky hill. These loose stones and sharp rock edges pose a great risk. So they should pick the Starlight Lake Campsite. A famous sculpture went missing from the art school gallery. Detective Joshua was informed that there were three students who were last seen near the gallery. Alexandra claimed that she was sketching in her notebook. Beckett said he was in a pottery class, and Caleb said he was reading in the library. Detective Joshua could immediately tell who had the missing statue. Can you? Check out Alexandra's sketchbook. Among her sketches, there's a detailed drawing of the missing sculpture, suggesting she took it to study and draw from it. The Museum of Art was doing a special exhibition of a very famous modern painting. There was a rumor that on the day of the gala, The artist who painted it was also going to be there. However, no one knew what they looked like because they were keeping their face a mystery to the public, and only the curators knew what they looked like. James was an art student and was a big fan of this painting. He had an invitation to the gala and was determined to meet the artist. Take a look at these three guests. Who do you think might be the artist of the painting behind them? We already know the name of the artist from their signature on the painting. It's Ali. Now, even though the second guy here is holding an exhibition brochure with the same signature, look at the tag he has on his jacket. It says he's the curator. So he already knows what the artist looked like, and he's just another fan. Now, check out the third lady. She's holding a red-colored pen, just like the color of the signature on the brochure. She must be the one who signed it, so she's the mysterious artist. It was snowing a lot that winter. Penny, the police officer, was on duty at the Commonwealth neighborhood. During one of her regular patrols, she noticed a suspicious-looking man who was carrying 2 bags full of stuff. When she asked him what he had in them, he said they were clothes for donation. Still, Officer Penny arrested him. Why? Look at the footprints on the snow. He left the house through the window after robbing it. If he lived there, he would rather use the door. Ellie went to the beach on a hot summer day. As she was placing her towel and umbrella on the sand, she noticed someone had dropped their diamond ring. She went to the beach guard and asked him to announce if anybody was missing their ring. After the announcement, 3 people, Jennifer, Shelley, and Marie, came and said the ring belonged to them. Can you help them figure out who is telling the truth? Take a look at Marie's ring finger on her left hand. She has a tan line there. She must have been sunbathing when she dropped her diamond ring. Bernie was working in Los Angeles, and his girlfriend Deborah was working in Austin, Texas. She was living alone in a studio apartment. They loved each other very much and talked all the time. They were keeping their long-distance relationship alive by exchanging photos every day. But one day, after Bernie received 3 photos from Deborah, he immediately called her and said everything was over between them. Can you tell why? In the bathroom photo, there are 2 toothbrushes, even though she lives alone. In the living room photo, there is a man's shoe on the floor next to the door. And in the kitchen photo, on the planner on the fridge, Tuesday is circled. And inside the circle, it says, "Date night with James." Deborah is clearly cheating on Bernie.
Cora gets a new job and moves into a luxury apartment in Manhattan. Her condo has 13 floors. 5 people are living on the ground floor, and each floor has 2 more people on it compared to the previous one. Which floor calls the elevator the most? Any person who lives on a floor other than the ground floor would have to call the elevator to reach their respective floors. So, the ground floor should call the elevator way more frequently than the other floors.
Oh.
Cora meets her neighbor, Mason. He has 4 daughters, Hannah, Elle, Eve, and Anna. What pattern did he use to name them? His daughters have palindromic names. You can read them from left to right and from right to left, but they'll remain the same.
Oh.
Cora takes the elevator to the 13th floor where she lives. The elevator takes her to the desired floor. She comes out and freaks out right away. Why? Take a look at the mirror. It didn't reflect the number 13 correctly. Four movers show up to help Cora with her boxes, but one of them is an imposter.
Hello.
Can you guess who? The third guy carries the only box that doesn't have Cora's name on it. Also, one of his arms is in a cast. He hid it under his gloves and sleeves, but Cora cannot be tricked so easily. The next day, Cora receives 4 welcome baskets from her neighbors. One of them isn't safe. Can you guess which one? The second basket looks delicious, but take a closer look. There are bugs instead of chocolate in these cookies. Yuck! Cora wants to hire a cleaner to take care of her apartment. She interviews 3 people. Sandra says she has 20 years of experience in this field. Harry is a student who needs extra money to pay his bills and buy food. And Bianca has recently moved from her parents' farm. She needs a job as soon as possible. Who's lying? Harry. Take a closer look. He's too transparent to be a real human. Ghosts don't need to pay bills and buy food. Liar.
Oh no.
There's a swimming pool on the roof of Cora's condo. She goes there and meets 3 neighbors in the shower. One of them is not from this planet. Can you guess who? The third lady is a visitor from outer space. She has 7 toes instead of 5. Also, she lacks a belly button. And it seems like the shower steam goes through her body. Cora comes back home and finds out that someone stole one of her expensive paintings and replaced it with a cheap copy.
What?
How did she know? The third painting has a slightly thinner frame than the others. That's because it's a fake. Cora decides to question her neighbors. She knocks on 2 doors just next to hers. Ashley and Megan live in separate apartments just next to Cora. These 2 ladies have partners, but one of them dates 3 people at once. Can you guess who? Ashley has 3 different cakes in her fridge, so she probably had 3 different guests recently. Cora wants to find the thief who stole her painting, so she calls the police. Officers examine the crime scene and arrest 3 suspects right away. Can you tell who's guilty by just looking at this picture? The thief left footprints of sneakers on the carpet next to the paintings. Only the first suspect has the matching shoes and size. The next morning, Cora goes hiking in the woods, and eventually she gets lost. There are 3 routes that she can take. One has animal footprints, the second one has human footprints, and the third route is along the river. Which path is the most reliable? Cora should choose the third route. Animals might be dangerous and people are not reliable, but the river will lead her to the city or a bigger body of water with a beach. In the evening, Cora goes to the local concert hall. One of these guys is a real magician. Can you guess who? The first guy is hiding a card under his sleeve. The second one makes his card levitate with the help of teeny tiny strings. But the third magician's hat levitates on its own. So he's the real one. Cora is watching an opera set in ancient Egypt, so the actors are dressed in appropriate costumes. After the show, Cora goes backstage to meet them. But one of these people is not an actor. This person is a time traveler from the past. Can you spot the imposter? All 4 people are dressed in ancient Egyptian costumes, so we should use the method of elimination. The first guy is using a smartphone, so he's probably an actor. The second lady has a modern manicure, so let's exclude her too. The fourth lady has a sports car tattoo on her leg, so she must be from this century as well. Therefore, the third guy is a time traveler. Cora arrives at the condo after the opera late at night. She enters the empty lobby and suddenly hears weird sounds from the basement. Cora goes there to check and finds herself in a secret, spooky dungeon. She finds a door with a combination lock which requires a 4-letter password. There's a mirror next to the door. Someone wrote the word "live" on its surface. Cora tries to enter this word, but it doesn't work. Can you help her crack the code? The mirror is part of the clue. Cora should reflect this word, and the password is evil. Finally, Cora opens the door. She sees a secret meeting taking place in a creepy hallway. All participants are dressed in robes and masks. They catch Cora and offer her a deal. If she manages to crack their riddles, she'll become part of the club. But if not, she'll remain locked in the dungeon forever. Here's the riddle. My neighbor makes mistakes. I get rid of them. Who am I? Can you help Cora out? I'm an eraser. Cora nails it, and now she's invited to go into the Hall of Mirrors alone. Cora sees a bunch of fun reflections of herself in the weird mirrors, but suddenly she freaks out and screams. Why is that? One of the reflections doesn't belong to Cora, so she's not alone in this room. Cora enters the next room and gets trapped in a spooky, abandoned public shower. She needs to choose one of these 3 doors to get out. There's a bunch of hungry rats behind the first door. There's an unknown glowing substance behind a second door. It may or may not be toxic. And there's a firewall behind the third door. Which way is more or less safe? Cora should choose the third door. Look around. She's in the shower, remember? She can use a bucket and water to put out the fire. Now Cora needs to crack this twisted circle maze to find the way out. Can you help her? Here's the correct route. Cora enters the next room and finds herself in a huge, chic dining room. There are 3 figures in robes and masks staring at her, but one of them is just a statue. Can you guess who? The first figure is breathing deeply. The second is blinking. You can see it through the mask. So the third figure must be the statue. People in masks give Cora 3 envelopes. She can choose one of them and take what's inside as a gift. One of them contains a $100 million diamond necklace. Another one, a pair of wool socks. And the third one, $10,000 in cash. Each envelope is signed. The first one says, "Necklace isn't here." The second one says, "Necklace is here." And the third one says, necklace might be here. Can you help Cora make the right choice? She should ignore the writings and simply weigh the envelopes. The desired one should be much heavier than the others.
Oh, yes.
Cora gets her necklace. The secret club members take off their robes and masks and turn on the lights. Cora recognizes her neighbors. That was just a welcoming prank. But still, something is odd here. Can you guess what? The lamp levitates.
Oh my god.
Get ready to decipher the enigma.
3 women gathered at a table in a popular cafe. Their appearances seemed to reveal their financial status. 2 of them looked wealthy, while one woman didn't seem to be as well off. Look at these ladies very attentively and write in the comments which of them is not actually rich. The answer might not be as obvious as it seems. The woman wearing pearls is not trying to show off her wealth. She's content with her simple, sustainable life. This suggests that she's truly rich. The second woman has extremely expensive accessories. She doesn't need a car, since she will be picked up by her driver and notified of their arrival through her Apple Watch. But the third woman is not actually rich. She doesn't have any valuable possessions, and that money falling out of her bag is actually fake. Look at these 2 couples lounging on the beach. There are designer bags by their side, and they're dressed in fancy swimsuits. At first glance, both couples appear to be well off, but only one of them possesses true richness. If you have already figured out which couple it is, share your ideas in the comments. The couple on the left have some fake items. If you look at them attentively, you'll notice that the logos are written incorrectly. They're also pale. Can it be because they have to work all the time and go on vacation just once a year? As for the couple on the right, their seemingly simpler yet well-maintained belongings suggest that they value quality over extravagance. And their worn luggage speaks of their many trips. Plus, they have tanned skin, which means that they can vacation much more often. A suspected criminal, Doug the Evil Man, had been bouncing around various places in the world. Interpol had been trailing him, expecting to catch him with large amounts of unaccountable cash. When they finally got their hands on the criminal, they only found sunglasses, a wallet containing about $50 American, credit cards, and some foreign loose change. They had nothing to do but let the guy go. In reality, though, Man managed to sneak a fortune right before the authorities' eyes. If you have any ideas about how he did it, share them in the comments. These foreign coins were actually extremely rare and incredibly expensive ancient coins. Detective Stanwyck came to Mr. Pennyroll's house to investigate a crime. Mr. Pennyroll claimed he had been kidnapped by bank robbers when he had arrived to open up the bank where he was the assistant manager. They made him open the safe and give them the money. They told the man to drive them to his house. They wanted to get his wife's jewelry too.
Oh my god!
While they were on the way, one of the criminals moved the money into a paper bag and threw the bank bag out of the window. When the car stopped at the red light 2 blocks later, the banker managed to escape. The detective decided to follow the route back to the bank to look for clues. At one point, Mr. Pennyroll shouted that he saw the empty bank bag, and a few minutes later, he pointed at the red light where he managed to escape. When they arrived at the bank, Detective Stanwyck arrested Mr. Pennyroll for a false report. Have you noticed a problem with the banker's story? Then tell us in the comments below. While heading back to the bank, they should not have reached the money bag before they reached the corner where Mr. Pennyroll jumped out of the car. He supposedly did that after the criminal had tossed the bag out. If this story was true, the detective and banker would have passed the corner first and the money bag next on the way back to the bank. Now, there's a truly mysterious case for you. Chelsea walked up to a parked taxi, handed the taxi driver a $20 note, and walked away. Here are the things you need to know. She's not very good with directions. $20 is too big of a tip for giving directions. The girl also has a car of her own, and it's not broken. Can you solve this mystery faster than the other Brightsiders? Leave your answer in the comments. Chelsea was lost and paid the taxi driver to take her to her destination. She followed him in her own car. Look at this picture very attentively. Can you spot a thief and explain your choice in the comments below the video? It's the woman in the brown coat with white lapels. She stands out among the crowd, as everyone else is either wearing sleeveless or short-sleeved outfits. Stephen called the police to report that his valuables were missing. When the police arrived, the man told them he had gone on a camping trip alone. He just got there and set up his tent when it started raining heavily. He hurried to get some dry firewood and left his bag with his wallet and all the documents inside the tent. When he came back, everything was gone. The police officers didn't believe Stephen and fined him for making a false call. Have you figured out how they understood that the man was lying? Tell us in the comments. Stephen said he had set up the tent before it started to rain. But then, why is there a big puddle inside? Tom vanished at around 10 p.m. on Friday in the fall. A police officer questioned his 4 friends. She suspected that one of them had something to do with the guy's disappearance. She asked each of them what they had been doing at that time. Adam said he had been choosing an outfit for a date. Daniel was getting ready for a party that was going to take place at his apartment. Sophia said she had been relaxing by doing yoga before her night shift at work. And Jake was watching birds in the park. After questioning the suspects, the police officer arrested one of Tom's friends. If you know who she detained, write it in the comments. It was Jake. At 10 p.m. in the fall, it's too dark to see birds outside. Police officer James was called into a small hotel to investigate a mysterious jewelry disappearance. Emily had checked in the night before and put all her expensive diamonds in her hotel room safe. After she came back from lunch the next day, the jewelry was gone. James had 3 suspects. The receptionist said she had been out on her lunch break. The maid said another guest had checked out earlier that day, and she had been cleaning their room. Susan, another hotel guest, said that she had just woken up. One of these people is lying. If you figure out who it is, write your guess in the comments as fast as possible. It's Susan. She said she had just woken up, but look at her bed. The maid had already made it. Joan came home one evening and discovered that someone had robbed her house. When the police arrived, they went to question the neighbors. Victoria said that she had been visiting her friend who lived 2 blocks away. She came home a couple of minutes ago. Peter said that he had been ill. He only made a short trip to the pharmacy and stayed in bed after that. Nathan said that he and his wife had been preparing for a barbecue party with their friends. But it started raining heavily, and they had to cancel their plans. Help the police and write the name of the thief in the comments below. It was Victoria. It was raining, and she said she had just come home. But look! Her hair, clothes, and the umbrella, which is standing near the door, are absolutely dry. Tyler was going to his friend's place in the evening when a stranger in a black mask captured him. The next thing the guy knew, he was in a large room, locked in a cage. There were 3 levers in the wall next to the cage. If he pulled the first lever, he would let hungry lions into the cage. The second lever would flood the cage with water. And the third lever would activate a special mechanism that would make the top of the cage move down towards the bottom, crushing everyone and everything inside. Which lever should Tyler pull to survive? Share your choice in the comments. His only choice is the second lever. All the water will flow out through the bars of the cage. Hey Brightsider, you're going to have loads of adventures in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
So, you just wanted to go on an exotic vacation, but you ended up inside an Egyptian pyramid, and it's full of spooky mummies. The only way to get back home is to solve these riddles.
Yeah.
You've fallen down a tunnel, which means you can't go back the same way.
Uh-oh.
There are 3 doors in front of you with snakes, scorpions, and scarabs behind each of them, respectively.
Uh-oh.
You need to choose the safest one. Hopefully, you know that scarabs are harmless, so you should pick the 3rd door. Soon, you spot 3 mummies, but just one of them is real.
Uh-oh.
Which one? Look at the 3rd one. There's a mummy bug on its leg, so it must be the real mummy. This mummy, which turns out to be indeed real, wants to test you. You have to answer its questions correctly to get out of the pyramid. And here's the first riddle. Why was an Egyptian kid confused? That's because their daddy was a mummy. What do you call Ryan Gosling disguised as a mummy? Ryan Gosling, of course. Why do mummies like Christmas? Because there are so many gifts and wrappings. That's why. You're finally free and can see your friends. Uh-oh, bad news. One of them is possessed, but you don't know which one it is. You can't bring them back home in such a state, so you gotta find out who is in trouble. This guy has red eyes, but it might be because he hasn't slept all night, worrying about you. Your second friend has a weird green glowing aura around her. Can it be that sandwich she has in her pocket? It's surely gone bad, but look at this guy. His mouth looks weird. The right half is smiling when the left one isn't. Plus, his fingers seem to be dislocated. This is the friend possessed by a mummy spirit. Now how about some short riddles you need to crack very fast? Ready? Let's start.
Yeah.
He has 1, a human has 2, a citizen has 3, population has 4, and personality has 5. What am I talking about? Syllables. Why is it so easy to weigh fish? Because they have scales. It can fly but has no wings. It can cry but has no eyes. Wherever it goes, darkness is following it. What is it? It's a cloud. I have one, you have one. If you remove the first letter, a bit is still there. Remove the second, and the bit remains. Try again and remove the third, but it stays. What is it we have? A habit. When you have it, you want to share it. But if you share it, you don't have it anymore. What is it? It's a secret. What kind of cup doesn't hold water? A cupcake. The more of them you take, the more you leave behind. What am I talking about? Footsteps. What did the thief get for stealing a calendar? "12 months. You measure its life in hours and minutes, and it serves you by expiring. It's quick when it's thin and slow when it's fat. Its biggest enemy is the wind. The longer it lives, the smaller it becomes. What is it? It's a candle. You can hear it, but you can't touch it. And still, you can control it. What is it? It's your voice. Add it to itself and multiply by 4. Then divide it by 8 and you'll have it once again. What number is it? It can be literally any number. What kind of coat can you put on only when it's wet? The answer is a coat of paint. John ordered a fishing rod that cost him only $5. The only problem is that he lives in a country with very strict import rules. They prohibit shipping any objects that are longer than 3 feet. But John's new fishing rod is a bit bigger than that. It's 3 feet and 3 inches long. How can it be mailed to the man in one piece without breaking the rules? The fishing rod can be put in a box that is 3 feet on all sides. Then, the fishing rod will easily fit within the diagonal of the box, with a lot of room to spare. Once, Mrs. Smith, Peter, Paul, and Patrick's mom heard a loud sound of shattering glass coming from the living room. She ran into the room and saw that her favorite vase was broken. She spotted a football. She asked her sons what had happened, and each of them told her his own version of the accident. Peter said that Paul hadn't kicked the ball. He added that he knew for sure that Patrick had done this. Paul said that Patrick wasn't guilty. He also added that he hadn't finished his homework. And Patrick said that Paul had broken the vase, and he knew for sure because Peter didn't play football at home. How can Mrs. Smith understand who broke the vase if the following is true? One boy lied in both of his statements. 2 boys told the truth. Have you noticed that only one of Paul's statements is related to the accident? The one in which he says that Patrick isn't guilty? What he says about his homework changes nothing. The first of Peter's statements contradicts Patrick's first words and vice versa. This means that it's impossible for both of the boys to tell the truth. Peter and Paul can't both tell the truth, as Paul's words contradict Patrick's second phrase. That's why Patrick and Paul can't lie, meaning that Peter lied in both his statements, which means that Paul broke the vase. Miranda is practicing her dance steps together with her friends. In a particular sequence, all of them form a row. At that point, Miranda is the 4th from either side of the row. Can you figure out how many girls are practicing together? In total, there are 7 girls. Miranda is the 4th from either end of the row, which means there are 3 girls on one side and 3 on the other. Marta got into a trap set by a powerful witch. The girl got locked in a jail cell, and the only thing that could probably help her escape was a special magic elixir. Marta found 3 jars. The liquid from the first one could turn her into a superwoman. The second jar contained the liquid that turned people into zombies. And if Marta drank the elixir from the third jar, she would turn into a vampire. The effect of each elixir could last for half an hour. Which of them should Marta drink? Marta could wait till the morning, drink the elixir from the third jar, and transform into a bat and fly out of that tiny window. In 2 years, this dog is going to be twice as old as it was 5 years ago. How old is the dog at the moment? The pooch is 12 years old. Mia is 3 times older than Anna. 3 years ago, Anna was a year younger than Amelia is now. Olivia is twice as old as Anna. Put the girls in order of their age. It goes like this: Mia, Olivia, Anna, and Amelia. Physicists have built devices to move it very fast. The last 7 letters of its name can usually be found in newspapers, magazines, and journals. Can you figure out what I'm talking about? A particle. Lewis and his friend Mark were playing basketball. Suddenly, their ball landed in the garden of Lewis's neighbor, a very unfriendly gentleman. An even more unfriendly dog was guarding that garden. Luckily, it was tied to a tree, but the ball fell too close to that tree. If the dog spotted Lewis, it would follow the guy's every step. and if the guy came close enough, the dog would bite him. How can Lewis get his ball back without getting hurt in the process? Lewis should walk around the tree, staying out of the dog's reach. The dog will keep following him until the entire length of the animal's leash is wrapped around the tree. Then, Lewis should grab his ball and run away.